Hey, are you ready for this tax season? Listen, we are in January, already in the middle of the month in 2022, and I want to make sure that you are ready and that you have all your documents ready so that you can properly file for 2021. So, what I'm going to do is talk about all the documents that you need to look out for, um, whether if they come in the mail or if you can log into an account and somehow obtain access to them. But it is very, very important that you keep a lot of these documents so that you can have proof or you can provide them to your tax preparer, your CPA, your EA, whoever it may be. You want to make sure to have these documents in place. So we're going to go down the list. And again, this may not have the totality of everything because, again, this would last a long time. So this is just very basic. I haven't even touched, and I won't even touch, not in this video, I won't even touch the things that you need to have prepared as an entrepreneur once you are providing documents for your tax preparer. So let's just go with what you need, the basics, the things that will be mailed to you or should be mailed to you for this season. So, all right, very first thing, we have a letter from the IRS for 2021 tax payments. So again, if you received any stimulus checks, if you receive any advanced child care tax credit, if you receive random deposits, right? That said Department of Treasury. Those were payments from the IRS. And most likely, they will have sent you a letter saying that they paid you either a stimulus and economic income payment or advanced child care tax credit. So look out for that in the mail because your tax preparer is going to ask you how much did you receive, right? So you'll be able to know how much you actually receive. Another little tip that I want to add in there is that if you have not uh, looked into your portal, the IRS, so everybody's given an Irs Tax Portal. So, but you have to register and create your own account for that. So if you go to irs.gov, you'll be able to create an account and see what payments actually went out and look at your account as far as from the IRS perspective. So you are able to do that. So again, if you received any type of stimulus payments, if you received any type of advanced child care payments, then you want to look out for that letter from the IRS. Secondly, W-2s. This is real simple. However many jobs that you worked at, even if you worked there for one day, you want to make sure to get all W-2s gathered from all the places that you've worked, even if you work part-time or whatever it is. If you filled out a W-4, that means that you earn money and they paid you. That means that you are supposed to receive a W-2. So make sure that you gather all the W-2s. Most likely, you should have them available in some type of portal. Another thing is that employers typically have until January 31st, companies to actually to actually send these forms to you, either via mail or by providing an online access for you to access your W-2. All right. Next thing is your 1099 NEC, right? That's non-employee compensation. So your 1099, it used to be called 1099 miscellaneous, but they changed it to a 1099 NEC, which is non-employment compensation. So if you received a 1099, that means that you were paid as a contractor. And you want to make sure that you receive these from people that have paid you money. So if they paid you some money, you want to make sure to receive a 1099 from them. Just know that there have been cases where people have received a 1099 or don't know they received it. The company who paid them actually, this information gets sent to the IRS and the IRS takes wind of it and then They say, hey, you did not report this income. You want to make sure to report this income. So a 1099 NEC, that means if you've done work for somebody, I'm not talking about as an employee, but if you've done some work and maybe it was some contractor work, then typically if it's more than $600, they're going to send you a 1099 NEC. So that's that. The next thing is a 1099-G. This is typically issued from a state, some kind of local government to, and the most common of a 1099-G is going to be your unemployment. So if you receive unemployment from your state, then you're going to receive one of these forms. You want to make sure that you keep these forms and give them to your tax preparer. All right, I threw this one in here. This is really supposed to be for my business people, but I just wanted to slide this one in here, right? I wanted to slide this one in here. A 1099K. A 1099K is third-party network transactions. So that means that if you know, receive money. Now, again, it's going to change next year. I'm talking about right now. If you receive more than $20,000 through PayPal, Cash App, any of those, right? Let's say that your side hustle just blew up, right? And you receive more than $20,000, or you've had more than 200 transactions. That means, and that means that they like that company, PayPal, Cash App, those types of companies. If you have a merchant, whatever you receive payment through Stripe, they are going to send you a 1099K. And that 1099K, you want to make sure to hold on to that, because again, that means that your side hustle, you're making some money right there, and they have to report that to the IRS. So 1099K. Again, if you haven't had more than $20,000 in credit card that people have paid you via credit card through Stripe, PayPal, Cash App, any of those types of things, then you don't have to worry about it. I just slid that one in there just in case that there were some individuals that, you know, tried a little side hustle and ended up getting paid way more than they expected to. The next thing to look out for is going to be 1099. Okay, I have three of them up here. It's the 1099 INT, the 1099 DIV, or the 1099B. Now, this is all involving either interest, 1099 interest, 1099 dividends, or 1099 like investment. So if you've invested or if you have your money in a savings account, you're most likely going to receive a 1099 interest, right? INT stands for interest. Also, dividends, if you invest into stock and they pay you, you're going to have 1099 dividends. So you're going to receive 1099 dividends. And then also there's 1099B. So if you're exchanging a lot of stock or different investments or different types of stock transactions, you're going to receive a 1099B. Those are for your investments, right? So if you do any type of investments, make sure to look out for this, because if you have any type of logins, if you have E-Trade accounts, if you have Principal, if you have different types of accounts, Robinhood, I mean, let's just go there, Robinhood, Acorn, all these different types of accounts where you're trading stock and you're doing different things, you want to make sure to log into those accounts and get access to any type of, if any 1099s were issued, you want to make sure that you get access to those. Again, these statements aren't typically going to be available until after January 31st. So that is the last date that's their deadline. That's supposed to be their deadline. Also, too, one thing that I did not have in there, but I wanted to make sure to bring to your attention, one thing that the IRS is doing is that they are paying more close attention to the virtual currency. You got it. The cryptocurrency, the virtual currency, they're taking wind of that. So if you've done any type of trading in that, the IRS is going to want, they're going to want some of their taxes. They're going to want some of their money, right? So especially if you did trading or if you sold cryptocurrency, you cashed out on cryptocurrency. There's been cases where clients have received letters because they've done some cryptocurrency trading, and you want to make sure that you have a good record keeping of your cryptocurrency or virtual currency. So I just wanted to make sure that know that the IRS knows about virtual and cryptocurrency. So if you've done any of that or dabbled in that, you want to make sure to keep the documentation for that. The next thing on here, again, this is supposed to be for my business folks, but I just wanted to slide this one in here too. K1s. So what is a K1? A Form K1 is basically any owners or partners in a partnership or an S Corp. You're going to receive a K1. So that is your share of the business. And so typically, you S Corps, you could be a sole owner of the S Corp and receive a K1. That's just a statement of what your profit is in the S Corp. However, you also have the partnership. So let's just say there's a 50-50 partnership. You can receive 50%, like a K1. You'll receive a K1 for 50% of your partnership. Again, if you're like, what's going on? You can just sort of, just not even worry about that. So unless you're a partner or you're an owner of an actual S Corp. I could probably feel a question, right? What about an LLC? You don't have to worry about that unless you are recognized as an S Corp or a partnership. You don't have to worry about that. So the next thing is a 1099-S. This is basically sale of property. So where I see this is that there's a sale of a property, a house, right? If you sold a real estate property, you're going to get a 1099-S that gets reported to the IRS for how much it's sold for. Again, it's going to be very important that if you are in real estate investment, that you keep tabs on how much you bought the property for, because whenever you put what you sold the property for, you want to make sure that you include what you bought for it as well. So just wanted to throw that in there. Again, if you haven't been selling properties like crazy, you don't have to worry about that. But again, you want to make sure to keep that documentation, the 1099-S. The next thing is the 1099-R. The 1099-R is the distributions from retirement, or an SSA 1099. So if you're receiving any Social Security, if you're receiving any distributions, this also include early distributions, right? There's some people that are taking early distributions. There are people who are taking distribution. You want to make sure to keep those things, right? Keep that documentation, especially whoever is distributing, whatever company is distributing that, you want to make sure to keep that documentation. Again, you can probably get online access, but they may go ahead and mail you that as well too. So the next thing is a 1098, student loan interest. I know that they've been pretty lax on student loan payments, but if you did pay any student loan interest, it is deductible. And so you want to make sure to have that information as well too. So if you know you were still making payments during this time, or if you made payments towards interest, you want to make sure to have that form. The next one is a 1098-T. That is tuition that is paid. So if you paid out of pocket for tuition, this is the form that you want to make sure that you give to your tax preparer so that they can make sure to properly calculate that for you for your schooling, for your higher education. The next thing is payments of medical insurance premiums. So if you have been paying for medical insurance, you want to make sure that typically they will send you a form stating that you've had medical insurance throughout the year, what months of the year you've had medical insurance, but then also you want to keep tabs, make sure you have the documentation of your payments of those medical insurance premiums. Again, if you work for a company and you have medical insurance through them, then typically you'll have that documentation, but you want to make sure to have that given to your tax preparer as well. The next thing is 1098 mortgage interest statement. This is a very important document for those who are homeowners. You want to make sure to have your 1098 mortgage income interest statement, because typically it has the interest that you pay throughout the year for your primary residence and other real estate that you might have. It will have that information of how much interest that you paid. Also, it has how much you paid in real estate taxes and other information that is pertinent in order to determine whether or not which type of deduction is going to be like the best one for you. So you have standard deduction and you have your itemized deductions. And so you want to make sure to just provide this to your tax preparer. The next thing is going to be your charitable contribution statements. So hopefully, and I really should have done a video before December 31st, right? So if you have given or been very charitable to any type of nonprofit organizations, churches, right? Then you should receive a charitable contribution statement that has a year-end giving. Typically, if you donate to Goodwill or other places like that, they will give you a receipt of what you've given. And so, again, you want to keep all of this documentation to hand to your tax preparers so that they can have the information that they need to process and file your return properly. Again, with certain tax preparers and different things, CPAs, EAs, all those, right? Like they want to make sure that, like for me, I could speak for myself, want to make sure that we seek for the biggest deductions that you can qualify for, right? Nothing illegal, but we want to make sure that you have all the deductions that you need, and that whenever you don't have all the documentation in place, one of the things is that it can trigger an IRS audit, right? And so you want to make sure to have all that documentation. Another thing is that having this documentation is going to be easy to prove, just in case that you get this crazy deductions and they come back and you're able to prove and have your ducks in a row on why you qualify for these deductions and why you're able to pay less in taxes than someone else. And so it's very important to have these things and to make sure that you have everything accounted for so that you can make sure that you have the most deductions and possibly get like the biggest refund that you need to get. And so all of these things are very important, just for proper filing sake. And so again, if this was helpful, let me know in the comments. And also, I just wanted to put my information up there just in case if you do have any questions or if you're interested in filing. This is my website, www.coachchanelcpa.com. And if you have any ideas of what else I can actually, put in a video, let me know and I will be happy to share. Again, there was so much information that I couldn't put in this video, but I'm glad to really just help and serve. So even if it's not me, I'm definitely okay with that. So just take this information, and whoever your tax preparer is, feel free to help them out, right? So you are helping them out. So thank you so much, and you all have an amazing, amazing day.